What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon, MLB DFS video. It is Sunday. It is June 23rd. We are back with a full slate. Hopefully, you guys had a fantastic Saturday. I know we did. I know a lot of people in the Discord showed all of their wins. So if you've not been in the Discord yet, the link is in the description. But the segment that we've talked about, Pitches Be Crazy, which is towards the end of the video, worked out yesterday. So Saturday, I entered it with the information we talked about, and we tied for first place. It's a $1,000 first place prize. Unfortunately, it was split up between 38 people, so my $1, instead of turning into $2,000, turned into 26. But that's still 26 times your return on investment. So I mean, that's nothing to blink at. So if you guys want to check it out, we have a ton of information here. If you've never been here before, welcome to the channel. We have giveaways every single day. We go over a ton of information. All of the available games that we can play, we're going to talk about here. We've got the normal Sunday night game. Then we've got the weird, not Peacock, but a Roku TV game, which is at 11:35 a.m. Eastern, so a 10:35 Central game. For whatever reason, so we can't play that game unless you're playing a single game, or if you're playing the all-day. I don't even think that's going to be on Fanduel's all-day slate. But I wanted to bring that to you. We're going to break down everything. If you've never been here before, hopefully you're in for a treat. If you guys want to support the channel, whether or not it's donating, whether or not it's sending us tips, whether or not it's signing up for FTA Plus, right here on the website, FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. A couple other ways, super easy ways to do it. Liking these videos and clicking on the ads. If you click on the ads that show up, that helps way more than you think. I know ads on YouTube are annoying, but it helps the channel out immensely. On top of that, if you guys could hit us up on Twitter and just tweet at us at advisors_team, or X, or whatever you want to call it, and just shouting us out to get out to the masses, to other ones that we're not there, connected to yet. That would be awesome as well. I am still looking for sponsorships for these videos, so if you know anybody, anyone has connections, that would help make these videos even better. So as much as we're going to go over in this video, there's a ton more information that I can't go over because it would take the 5 hours for each video. So if you want to check those out, under the MLB tab, you can check out everything from player projections to simulations and stuff like that. So speaking of simulations, we have 10,000 simulations we're going to run. At the end of this video, we are going to give you the top 20 bats after those 10,000 simulations. So that being said, that's kind of what we're looking at. On top of that, and I mentioned it earlier, we have giveaways every single time. So 2 ways to win. The first one, like the video, be a subscriber, and leave a comment. If this video gets at least 50 likes and you've liked and left a comment, you have a chance to win a free week of FTA Plus. That is a week of MLB, a week of NASCAR, of PGA, of MMA. So obviously we have NASCAR going and MLB for today. Obviously MMA was yesterday, but that is a full week, so you will get MMA for next week as well, and the start of PGA. If the video gets at least 100 likes, you have a chance to win a free month of FTA Plus. 150 likes is a chance at a free $200 a year. 200 or more likes on any video, a chance at a $500 lifetime pass. So yesterday's video got 1,000 views and 120 likes. So we are going to have a monthly pass giveaway right now, and you can win. The second way to win, there's a keyword somewhere in this video. I'm going to say the keyword. You type that in there, and you have a chance to win a free week. So we're going to run this twice. So the first one will just be because we got at least 100 likes for a free month, and you could win both times. We've never had someone win both times. But CNO forever. So the keyword yesterday was lemon lime, or keywords was lemon lime. So CNO, congratulations, you have won a free month. Please let me know your username. Email me, dfshelp1@gmail.com. I know you have an account on the site, and we will get you set up there for the month, on top of whatever you have right now. Now we are going to pick another winner. It could be CNO. It just randomizes it. So make sure you get your comments in every single video and like the videos, guys. So the winner of the free week is Solid Picks 228, which I believe won yesterday or the day before. Lemon lime is the keyword from yesterday. Congratulations to both of you. So once you see this, email me, and we will get you set up for your free passes. So congratulations to both of you. And if you guys come back tomorrow and the next day and the next day, you guys can win just like they did. So that being said, it's split up. It's a Sunday. It's the day of rest. We've talked about this in the past. Normally, catchers will rest on these days. So that is definitely something we want to look at. We're going to cover everything. I will let you know right now, there's a ton of weather concerns today, which sucks. It really does. Ton of weather concerns going on, but we're going to go through it regardless. So this is the early game, 2 hours before everything else starts, so we can't even play it. So we're going to come down here to Tampa Bay at Pittsburgh. So we look at this. Tampa Bay at Pittsburgh comes in. Weather concern. Rain might be a factor. We've got Aaron Savale versus Paul Skeens. Love Skeens. Do not trust Tampa Bay. I'm looking at Skeens. Honestly, at the moment, I'm probably not using bats in this one. And it will be really hard to use pitching if the weather is going to be a concern, so it's definitely something to monitor. See if the weather will hold up, or if it's going to come during the game. If it comes during the game, then that could screw us over if the starting pitcher goes. But honestly, I would be looking at Pirates bats, and I would be looking at Skeens in this one. So Skeens is one of my favorite pitchers here against Tampa Bay. And then you could look at O'Neill Cruz, Andrew McCutchen, Brian Reynolds, maybe Jack Sawinski for tournaments, and that's it. Now, people have asked me, can you dig deeper into the hitters? Why do you go with these hitters? If I did, it would take a long time. So what I'll tell you is go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. Under the MLB tab, go to batter splits. And it'll show you what batters, as long as they've had a minimum of 40 plate appearances against right-handed batter or pitchers or left-handed pitchers, it'll show you how they do. And that is a great way to use the pitches be crazy. That's a great way to use the pitching option and hitting as well. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And I mean, we know what Skeens is going to do. He is expensive. 2.29 ERA, has 53 strikeouts, 7.889. Like, his strikeouts are there. And if we look at this, Tampa Bay strikes out the fifth most out of everybody. And we will talk about this in the segment when we get there. So I don't want Savale for DFS, but for tournaments or for the pitching, he's in the top 5. So we will look at that, but I don't want him for DFS at all. I want Skeens, and I want a little bit of the Pirates bats today. Then we get the battle of the lefties. You got the Braves versus the Yankees. We saw Stanton leave the game hurt yesterday. They normally hit lefties well. Max Fried, you can see, in his career, 61 plate appearances, 382, so not the best. Obviously, not a huge sample size. And then Nestor Cortez. Normally, the Braves hit lefties well as well. Nestor Cortez, and we've talked about this in the past, he is so much better at home than away, it's wild. So you look at his splits. Splits-wise, 157 at home, 557 on the road. Has not faced Atlanta this year. I'm scared to use him a little bit. I think Nestor Cortez is a tournament-only pick. I think maybe Max Fried might be an tournament-only pick too. Fried started off the season very slow. Got into some bad luck. But, he's got these games where 17.8, then a 4.5, 38.2, 29.2, 41, 0.6. 28, 17. It's very, very up and down. I don't know if I trust both of these in cash. I think they're for me, tournament only. But then it's the bats that I kind of want to look at. Now, we saw Chris Sale. Obviously, Chris Sale's really good, and the Yankees weren't able to do anything against him. Chris Sale is a better pitcher, obviously, than Max Fried. I would give the advantage a little bit to just the bats in this one, to be honest. Marcell Ozuna had another home run on Saturday. I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again. I would look at him. Austin Riley hits very well. Ramon Laureano would be a tournament-only pick. He's batting like 150 or something like that, but he is a lefty killer if he gets in there, if he's in the lineup. Travis d'Arnaud probably gets the start today because Sean Murphy got it yesterday. d'Arnaud, prolific lefty killer usually. That is another one. Another one would be a cheap option if he's in there, Adam Duvall. Very cheap option for that outfield. Yankees bats, obviously Judge, obviously Soto. The problem is Soto's been walking a ton. Not the best fantasy points out of there. Stanton's going to be out, pulled a tight hammy or whatever. I get it. He's going to be out. Glaber heated up yesterday. I would look at him. Trent Grisham's probably playing the outfield or DHing. Really will depend. Trevino would be another one I could look at against the lefty. And then Anthony Volpe leading off is another one I would look at if you're making a stack there. So I don't really trust either pitcher for cash. I think both are tournament only. They've both done well against some really good teams. They've also gotten lit up too. That's my case there. And weather is a concern here. Definitely pay attention to this weather here. It's the weather that was in the Midwest past couple of days. Then you got the Red Sox at the Reds. You got to be announced versus Nick Lodolo. They are believing it's going to be who did I read for Boston? Oh, it's going to have a pitching opener. So Zach Kelly's going to open. Then it's going to be Chase Anderson. Yeah, give me all of the Reds and Nick Lodolo. So we look at Lodolo. 10 strikeouts last game, I think. 8 strikeouts. 8 strikeouts against Pittsburgh, 7 innings in that game. 7-6-6-6. He's gone deep into these games. The strikeouts are there. Boston strikes out the third most out of all the teams. I love Lodolo here. But again, there's some weather concern here. That's definitely something we look at. But I like, if the weather holds off, I like Lodolo, and I love the Reds as a stack. So looking at the Reds bats, depending on who it is, pitching-wise, it doesn't matter. Bullpen day or whatever. Ellie De La Cruz I'm looking at. Spencer Steer. Candelario, if he's starting, I like him there. Stuart Fairchild could be a cheap outfield option for you. So could Jake Fraley or TJ Friedel, depending on who's in there. But I think you do need at least Ellie De La Cruz and Candelario to make it feel good. I don't think I want any of the Boston bats. I think I'd rather go with Lodolo as one of my pitchers, both DFS and in the strikeout game here. I like both of those there. So we move to the Toronto game at Cleveland. This has another rain concern. Yusei Kikuchi versus Tristan McKenzie. Now, Kikuchi's been so up and down. He's had some really good games, and then he's had some bad games. Comes with a 3.65 ERA against Boston, gave up 5 earned runs in that game, but had 7 strikeouts. So it equaled out a little bit to 8.8, still not enough. Then a couple of good games there. And then a stretch, like 2 games, Pittsburgh and Detroit, he's not done well. Now he's going up against Cleveland. We see that I'm probably not going with Kikuchi in this one. I'd rather go with Cleveland. Again, the weather is a concern. But then you got Tristan McKenzie. I don't know what to think of him. 4.48 ERA, -7 against Seattle. Had 0 strikeouts in that game. And they are the team that strikes out the most. That's saying something. And then Cincy, 2 earned runs in that game, 4 strikeouts, 16.4. Toronto can hit. He's not played them this year in his career. 31 plate appearance, 172. I could see you going McKenzie for tournaments, and that's it. But I would rather focus on Cleveland bats here. Hopefully they get this game in. But obviously it's a lefty out of Kikuchi, but Jose Ramirez I would look at. David Fry is another one I would look at. Depending. Josh Naylor, lefty on righty matchup, I don't mind that at all. I would look at Stephen Kwan, even though it's a lefty on lefty matchup. I would still look at Stephen Kwan there for sure. So that's kind of what I would look at. And you might even throw in Andres Jimenez if you're trying to stack a full stack in this one. But again, I'm not using Kikuchi. I would maybe think about McKenzie for tournaments, but it's if I make like multiple lineups. I'd rather stick with the Guardians as a stack. Then you got the White Sox at the Tigers. You got Jonathan Cannon versus Reese Olson. We used Cannon his last start, and he's 6,200. He's had 2 good starts. He almost had a complete game against Houston. 7 hits allowed, but no earned runs. Only 4 Ks, which kind of stinks. Has not faced Detroit this year. Has been, a couple of games, didn't do well. A couple of games, he only went 3 innings in it. Tournaments, I'm okay with it. My problem is he's had back-to-back 100-plus pitch games. I don't know if that's going to affect him at all. Tournaments, Jonathan Cannon, I'm okay with against Detroit. But then it's Reese Olson. Do we trust Reese Olson enough because he is going up against the White Sox? I don't know. In his career, 28 plate appearance, 115. He's had good numbers. Has not faced them this year. Pitching at home, 3.41 ERA compared to 3.38 on the road. So it really doesn't matter if he's home or away. coming off a good game, but then he had a stretch of 3 bad games against Washington, Milwaukee, and Boston. Tournaments, I think both of these pitchers are tournament pitchers because they are so cheap. You're able to do anything. And I don't want any of the bats in this game. I'm not focused on the bats here. I'm just rather be the pitching for tournaments, and that's it. Then you got the Mariners at the Marlins. You got Bryce Miller versus Kyle Tyler. So Kyle Tyler is getting called up. Obviously a cheap option. Is he even on? Yeah, there he is. 7,600. Game log, he did pitch April 26th, only went 2 innings. I'm trying to see. So, yeah, they DFA'd him. Then he cleared waivers, remained in the organization, and has been a full-time member of the rotation in Jacksonville. So, 2.25 ERA. So, he could be in there. Could be a cheap option. Again, doesn't have much experience in the major leagues and has not pitched against major league hitting since April 26th. But now he's been doing okay. And here's the thing. Seattle's the team that strikes out the most. So tournaments, Kyle Tyler, I do not mind him. I don't want any of the Marlins bats. And then you got Miller. We're looking at Bryce Miller. 3.46 ERA. Game logs, not really good against Cleveland, but they're a really good team. Really good game against the White Sox. Not a good game against Kansas City. Good game against the Angels. So against teams that he kind of looks like Morgan Wallen. Look at a picture of Morgan Wallen. Tell me he doesn't look like Morgan Wallen. Anyway, you know what? Keyword of the day is Morgan. It's a name. I want you guys to now pause this video and go compare those pictures. Tell me he does not look like him. Anyway, Bryce Miller here has had some good games. Has not faced Miami this year. On the road, he is worse on the road, though, at 5.54 ERA. So that kind of stinks a little bit compared to his 182 at home. But it's the Marlins. So tournament-wise, I don't mind Bryce Miller. And I'm really not looking at offenses in this one. There are just so many other games that we can target offense-wise that I'm okay if we don't use these guys. Then we get to the Orioles at the Astros. You got Albert Suarez versus Framber Valdez. Which pitchers are we going to get? Which versions of these pitchers are we going to get? So we look at this. So we got Suarez down here, 6,900. Does have a 2.05 ERA. Did not do well against the Yankees. Ended up losing that. The only game they lost was 4-2. 3.2 innings, 3 earned runs, had 96 pitches in the 4th inning. They chased him early and often and got him out of the game. Now he's facing Houston. He is not facing this year. At home, 188. On the road, 222. Houston's one of those teams where they have put up runs in this series so far. But then there's games where Astros, maybe they throw out all of their innings. Now it's done. Suarez for tournaments. I don't mind because he is 6,900. But I'm probably looking at the offenses in this game over the pitching. Because then you got Framber Valdez. He comes in. 8,300. 3.91 ERA, so it's up there. Has not faced Baltimore this year. He's had a great game against the Angels, a complete game there with 8 Ks. But then 15.3 is really not enough at his price. -5 is not enough. 22.8 is good. 10.1 is not. Baltimore's such a good hitting team. I'm probably focused on the bats in this game over the pitching in this game. So I love Jordan Westburg today if he's in there. Ryan O'Hearn's another one. Santander being a switch hitter. I love him there. Rushman being a switch hitter. I love him there. Ryan O'Hearn has really turned things around. I think if I were to stack some guys, it would be Santander. It would be Rushman. It would be O'Hearn, Westburg, and if we're looking for a 5th one for a full stack, I might look at Jorge Mateo. If he doesn't hit a home run, but he gets on base, he's stealing bases. So those would be the ones that I'd look at. And then if we think Albert Suarez is not going to have a good game and we want to look at the Astros bats, obviously Yordan is at the top. You always got to get him in there. I'm still on the Trey Cabbage train. I would use him for cheap option there. Then we get into, do we want Bregman? Do we want Jeremy Pena? Cheap outfield option. Do we want Chas McCormick or Jake Myers if they're in there? Maybe. But I think the main ones are Yordan, Bregman, and Trey Cabbage. From you could look at Yonder Diaz, but again, it's Sunday. It's a day catchers rest. So you could see Cesar Salazar. I don't know if he's going to be in there. be a cheap option for you as well. I'm probably off the pitching in this one, though. Then the Giants at the Cardinals. Weather looks good. We should be good there. You got Logan Webb versus Sonny Gray. Very great pitching options. We look at them. Logan Webb, 9,000. Looking at this, game log wise, 17.6, really not enough. His last 2 starts have not been enough. They have dropped his price down 700. He is going up against St. Louis. I see that. But we see his splits. Away games, he's got 3.86 ERA compared to 2.06 on the road. He might be too expensive, at least in cash. But in tournaments, I'm okay with. But some of these bats for St. Louis can really hit. And I think they could hit him pretty hard today. And then we've got Sonny Gray's the most expensive, 10,500. Not really good game against Miami. Fantastic game against Pittsburgh with 9 strikeouts. He had a 10 strikeout game against Philly, which they are really, obviously a really good team. I would like both of these pitchers if this were in San Francisco, because that is a massive pitcher's park. I don't know if I can pay up 10,500 for Sonny Gray. I might fade Gray, and I might pay down to 10,000 and go Skeens if the weather is good there. But the bats is what I want to look at here. So the San Francisco bats that we want to take a look at: Elliot Ramos, Patrick Bayleaf is in there. I don't know if he will be. It's a Sunday. Conforto, Jorge Soler. Those would be the ones that I'd look at the most. You could throw in Matt Chapman if you want a 5-man stack. St. Louis against Webb. While not having the ton of success against him, the bats that have been heating up this year so far: Alec Burleson, Nolan Gorman, Brendan Donovan, Michael Ciani. Like, these are the bats people aren't on because they want to pay up for Goldie. They want to pay up for Arenado. I think we could pay for those. Pedro Pages, maybe a cheap option. Matt Carpenter, I don't know if he'll be in there. Could be a sneaky option for you as well. So, just a lot of things to look at. Pitching-wise, I might go Logan Webb just because he is cheaper. I don't trust... He would only be tournaments. I do not trust Sonny Gray at his price. Could have a fantastic game, but just his price, I might be outpriced on him for DFS. Then we got the Royals at the Rangers. We've got Alec Marsh versus Max Scherzer. Scherzer thought he was going to pitch yesterday. I'm really skeptical on what to... I don't know how deep he's going to go. I don't know if he's going to be on a pitch count. That's my problem. He is only 8,500, so, I mean, it's an easy pill to swallow at that price for like an SP2. Probably only tournaments today because, again, I don't know if he's stretched out enough. I don't. If he could get in a little bit of trouble, they might yank him just because. And he could always leave hurt again. That's just what he could do. So that's what I'm scared of a little bit. So I would take him for tournaments. Alec Marsh is the one where I was all over Alec Marsh's last start. I picked him up in my season-long league, and he got me nothing. He gave up 7 earned runs against Oakland. He has not looked good, and now he gets a matchup against Texas. So we look at his splits against Texas, has not faced them this year. Pitching on the road, has a 5.29 ERA. So back on the train, just like yesterday. It did take a few innings, but I'm on a Texas stack here against Alec Marsh for sure. And we went over it yesterday, and it's kind of the same thing. Like I said, Wyatt Langford, when he hits home runs, he hits home runs. Didn't have very many, but he was stealing bases when he gets on. But he had a grand slam on Saturday. So if we think that we're looking at a Texas stack, Corey Seager, Wyatt Langford, I would love Jonah Heim if he's in there. Again, it's a Sunday. Nate Lowe, Adolis Garcia. Those are the ones I want to look at. Or Andrew Kisner if he is starting instead of Jonah Heim. Kansas City bats: Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny Pasquantino, Salvador Perez, Nelson Velasquez, Kyle Isbell. Those would be the 5. But again, I don't know what Max Scherzer we're going to get. I just don't know. He's an amazing pitcher when he's healthy. He's older now, coming off the IL, first start of the year. Scares me a little bit. Tournaments, I'll have a little bit of exposure to him. I won't have any exposure to Alec Marsh. I'd rather have the Texas Rangers as a stack. And there you have it. That is the main slate breakdown. The main slate broke down. The first 5 games have weather concerns in them, and that is it for those. Then we get into the little Washington-Colorado game. Doesn't have... It's in the middle here. It's not on DraftKings, which is probably for the best because, again, you wouldn't take the pitching in this one. Kyle Freeland coming off the IL, I would stack the Nationals, Lane Thomas, CJ Abrams, Eddie Rosario, Joey Meneses. These are the ones I'd look at. Not really looking at anyone outside of like Ezekiel Tovar and Brennan Rodgers and Ryan McMahon. Those would be the ones I'd look at for the Rockies. But this game is not on there, so we will move on. Now, Minnesota. We've got Pablo Lopez versus Hogan Harris. We took Bailey Ober yesterday in the pitching. Pitches Be Crazy. He had the best match, and we broke it down for you, so hopefully you listened. Dominated for us. I think he had 10 strikeouts in that game, and he helped me tie first place with 37 other people. I'm going back to the well. It's a pitcher's park. I'm looking at Pablo Lopez, and I'm looking at Minnesota as a stack. Royce Lewis is absolutely on fire. I would use Royce Lewis. Carlos, you could use Carlos Santana. You could lose Carlos Correa. You could use Royce Lewis is obviously my number one. Byron Buxton, if he's in there, he's another one that I would look at. Those are the bats that I would look at. I want nothing to do with Hogan Harris. I want nothing to do with Oakland as a stack. I want the Twins as a stack, and I want Pablo Lopez for both DFS and the sports betting, or the Pitches Be Crazy, the little single game you can play on Fanduel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to Fanduel, click on MLB, and then I think it's single stat, and it's pitchers only or something like that, and you pick 3 pitchers on there. No salary, nothing. You just pick the 3 pitchers, and that's it. And good luck with that. And that's what we did yesterday. And then you got the Brewers at the Padres, Tobias Myers versus Michael King for in the afternoon's a little 2-game slate. Myers coming in. It is a pitcher's park, so you could see that. It's got a 3.26 ERA. Coming off a really good start at the Angels and versus Toronto and at Detroit. Had 3 straight good starts. Tournament-wise, I do not mind Tobias Myers. And then Michael King, game log-wise, up and down for him. Faces a Milwaukee team that he has not faced, or he has faced this year. Did get the loss, but went 7.2 innings. Only gave up 1 earned run, still got the loss, had 10 strikeouts in that game. I like both of these pitchers. I don't like the bats in this one. I'm looking at, obviously, Michael King is a cash. Tobias Myers is a tournament pick. But yeah, that's kind of where I'd go there. I'm not really looking at the bats in this one. And then this is a Sunday night game. You can't play it. You can play a single game, but we're not going to cover it. We just cover what you can play in a full slate of DFS. So there you have it. Is a Sunday. It is the slate that we talked about. All the pitchers, all the bats, everything that we like right there. If you want to see even more, go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, click on the MLB tab. So we are into the Pitches Be Crazy real quick. We'll get through that, and then we will get into the top 20 bats, and that'll be it for Sunday. So looking at this, Kyle Tyler has the best matchup here versus Seattle. Seattle striking out an average of 10.04 times per game. When they are on the road, they are striking out 10 times a game. So we could be looking at, if Kyle Tyler has a great game, we could see double-digit strikeouts in this game. Again, I don't think he's going to be on a pitch count or anything, so that's definitely number 1. Number 2 is Pablo Lopez at Oakland. So Oakland averaging 9.69 this year, strikeouts per game. Home, 8.92, so right around 9 strikeouts out of him. Could see double digits. We saw Bailey Ober with double digits yesterday. So that's number 2. Number 3 is Nick Lodolo versus Boston. Boston is striking out 9.62 times per game, and on the road, 9.74 times per game. So it's definitely one you could look at there. So Nick Lodolo is one of my favorites. Number 4 is Aaron Savali at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh striking out 9.51 times per game. At home, they're 8.89 compared to 10.1 on the road. And then the final one is Paul Skeens versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay striking out 9 times per game. On the road, striking out 9.56, and Paul Skeens is amazing. So I would love to use Kyle Tyler, Pablo Lopez, Nick Lodolo, Aaron Savale, or Paul Skeens for Pitches Be Crazy. And now we have the top 20 bats after 10,000. So we're going to do the top 20, and then we're going to give you all of the batters that have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating. So number 1, we can't use these, so it's Washington is a huge one here in Chicago. So I will not use the Washington or Colorado bats because they are not. Well, I guess if you're playing an all-day slate on FanDuel, you can play this. So we'll go with it. Number 1 is C.J. Abrams. Number 2 is Lane Thomas. 3 is Aaron Judge. 4, Davis Schneider. 5, Dalton Varsho. 6, Jose Ramirez. 7, Joey Meneses. 8, Josh Naylor. 9, Brandon Marsh. 10, Jordan Westberg. 11 is Stephen Kwan. 12, Nick Senzel. 13, Brandon Nimmo. 14, Adolis Garcia. 15, Kyle Schwarber. 16, Keibert Ruiz. 17, Danny Jansen. 18, Justin Turner. 19, Marcus Semien. And number 20 is Luis Robert Jr. So all the ones that have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating here. We got Lane Thomas, number 1. Number 2 is Aaron Judge. 3, Davis Schneider. 4, Jose Ramirez. 5, Joey Meneses. 6, Brandon Marsh. 7, Jordan Westberg. 8, Brandon Nimmo. 9, Keibert Ruiz. 10, Danny Jansen. 11 is Gunnar Henderson. 12, Yordan. 13, Anthony Santander. 14, Vinny Pasquantino. And 15, Ha-Sung Kim against Tobias Myers. So there you have it, the breakdown of Sunday slate. If you like the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you have not already. Hit the bell notification. If you want to see some other things, in the description of this video are links to the website and today's article. So good luck on this slate. And as always, let's bring home some bacon. Peace.